Is Jonathan Marchessault's market value lower than expected? We'll explain next right here on this edition of Locked On Golden Knights.
You're Locked On Golden Knights, your daily podcast on the Vegas Golden Knights, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hi again, everyone. Welcome back to a new week. Tony Cardasco, Chris Garlick from Las Vegas. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. You could find us wherever you get your podcast. Please subscribe to our Locked On Golden Knights YouTube channel. We are brought to you today by Gametime. Download the Gametime app today. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL, and you'll get $20 off of your first purchase. Terms do apply. Chris, Frank Saravelli from the Daily Faceoff, he released some salary projections late last week for pending unrestricted free agents that were published by AFP Analytics. And first, I found it interesting that he had projections in January compared to salary projections in May.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Some players, for instance, Jake Gensel, he had his salary projection soar over 4 to 5 months. He went from $7.94 million to $9.3 million and term from 6 to 7 years. Others, like Vancouver's Elias Lindholm, he dropped from $8 million AAV to 6.75. And for the Vegas Golden Knights, again, we need to localize these stories, bro. Jonathan Marchessault, 34 years of age, his May projection of $6.25 million and term of 3 years. And I've said before, I feel that he could command more than $8 million, but maybe I was speaking a little bit out of school. So maybe Pat Brisson goes in, negotiates a deal, and Marchessault wants 8. They come back with 6. And he settles on $7 million and maybe 2 to 3 years.
I mean, I don't think 2 years is in play. I think I'll start the bidding there. I think he's going to want at least a 3-year term, maybe even longer, depending on if he's going to go outside of Vegas at this point. Maybe he goes 3 years in Vegas and 4 years. I don't know. The money is interesting. I don't think this projection is completely accurate. It's just. I mean, 42 goals, 69 points, played nearly every game. His worst season as far as health, he played 66 of 82 games. And he still had a 47-point season with 22 goals. So at some points, health is going to have to catch up to Marchessault, or age, I should say, but not right now. I do agree that earlier I don't think you said January is when the first projection came out.
Yeah, from January to May. And I don't know, there's no comparables there from January to May for Marchessault. Gotcha. So they just had some of the
January to May. How much would it be? $500,000? I mean, at that point you knew what type of season Marchessault was going to have.
Are you saying down or up?
Oh no, I think it definitely went up from January, but I think the bigger jump would have been from September to January versus January to the end of the season, because we knew what was left in his tank at that point right there. I don't think 6.25 is the number he lands on. I don't think that's even the Vegas hometown discounts. I think the first number at this point is 7 million, maybe locally. There you go, Tony, localizing, or 7.5 plus if he goes outside of Vegas.
What about just something that I just recalled? The final game of the playoffs, season's over, state-run radio saying, well, maybe there's a lot of injuries. We're going to find out about perhaps one to Jonathan Marchessault. And then nothing ever became of that. He wasn't injured, was he? I have no idea. That was kind of crazy.
Everyone's injured to a degree, I think, is the company line right there. Marchessault, he's a warrior. He's proud. He's not going to sit up on the podium and say, his hamstring ain't chilling. You know what I mean? I don't think we're going to get that from Marchessault.
No, not a chance. So the AFP Analytics, they have Marchessault ranked 6th on the top 75 pending free agents list. And of course, free agency beginning on July 1st. Sam Reinhart is number 1. Some of the other VGK players on the list, I found this pretty interesting. Chandler Stevenson, for real, is he number 8? They have him jumping from $2.75 million, his current salary. Yes, he does deserve some sort of a raise, but for him to go a tenure of 5 times $5.6 million value, why would his value increase? And then I would feel as though
Are you saying why would Chandler Stevenson's value increase from 2.75?
Yeah, to double.
Oh, he doubles a little strong.
I put him around 4, and
no, he's getting 5 million somewhere. He's getting 5 million.
Oh,
somewhere.
Good for him.
And he's getting some term too. He'll get some term. He'll get 3-4 years. He might get a $20 million bag.
They're saying 5 on this list.
Yeah, he might get a $20 million bag for 4 seasons in the next month and a half.
Yeah, no way VGK pays that, right? Bye, so long, farewell. You think?
I mean, okay, so the argument maybe if they do not see a path to extending Marchessault, do they keep Stevenson in his place? I don't think that's the right answer, because now we're going to go back to, okay, who's the center on the second line going to be? Is it Hertl? Is it Stevenson? And I think that's something the Golden Knights would rather avoid going into next season. Now, if Stevenson said, hey, it's cool, I'll stay for $3 million, I love Vegas, okay, fine, whatever, but that's not going to be the case.
Okay, top 75 we're talking about here. Michael Amadio, he's ranked 46th, and we came in about right on him, right?
I said no. I predicted. So we used Brett Howden. Remember, that was the discussion last week.
Okay, that was
Brett
the
Howden as the comparable at 1.8 million. I thought about 2.2, 2.3.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the entire Brett Howden line.
The entire Brett Howden line making 3 million. Yes, Tony, exactly. No, I think 3 million is a little strong, but I mean, Amadio, he's 28 years old. He still has upward trajectory left, and it's not all about the stats for Amadio. Like, you look at his goal totals and stuff like that, but we've talked a million times. In my opinion, he is the Swiss Army knife of the Golden Knights forward group. You can put him on the left wing, you can put him on the right wing, you can put him on the center in the top line, the second line, the third line, or the fourth line, and Amadio can tailor his game for the situation. He's not great in the top 6. He'll be the first to tell you that, but he can get it done, and he did get it done. And I mean, remember when Stevenson got hurt, Amadio got the chance, and how many breakaways did Amadio have? Unfortunately, it's the same number of breakaways he didn't finish.
Yeah,
there you go. There you go. But Amadio still has upward mobility. He's got some helium left in the tank, so to speak, and it'll be interesting to see if the Golden Knights can find a path to keep him around, but not at 3 million.
Where do you think he might settle? Would he play here for over 2.3, 2.4?
I mean, I think if Vegas hit him at a 4 times 2.5, maybe, or, Amadio this could be a good spot for Amadio in Vegas to take a bridge deal right now, to take another prove-it contract. Because like I said, right now, 27 years old, 28 years old. So he's still in a spot where his next contract could be his best, whether it's this year or the next season. But his next contract with term, chances are, will be his best. And if he signs a long deal now, 4 times 2.5, is he leaving money on the table if he puts up 50 points next season? So I think that's maybe. Although that said, I think Amadio would take the first 3 times 3.1 that walks through the door, no questions asked.
Yeah, and I wouldn't blame him either. Number 62 on this list was Alec Martinez. They have him a 1-year deal at 1.25 value. 1 year at 1.25. Is this a player? I think he's probably done here in Vegas. That has been our opinion. But at 1.25, do you just sign him for another year?
Yes and no. So the concern right now, you got a crowded backfield, so to speak, right? You got 8 defensemen who can all play on a daily basis. Of course, Hutton and Caden Korczak are number 7 and 8 respectively. So it just depends on how injuries and stuff play into there. We've talked about if the corresponding move, if Marchessault gets extended, is trading a Shea Theodore or a Braden McNabb, then yeah, if 1.25 is the number for Alec Martinez, sign me up all day to have that depth back there. But if it's anything greater than that, no, just it's time to move on, unfortunately.
Is Alex Pietrangelo really going to make $12.5 million next year. $12.5 million.
He might. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what I know. I'm not sure what the structure of the deal is off the top of my hand, but I mean, listen, he's worth
He's
it. I
not
mean, I
worth
know.
12.5 million. Sorry, man.
Is the AAV 12 and a half, or is that how his salary is structured though? That's
I think
the
that's how the salary is structured.
okay. Yeah. So I mean, if he's still got the $9 million cap at whatever it is, I mean, it's fine. It's Petrangelo is needed, and I know people trade
I'd much
Petrangelo for
rather have
sure.
another scorer. Who cares about defense?
I mean, I don't know. The defensive core is what has carried this team, for the last 3 or 4 seasons. Season 1, actually, my kid was watching Stanley Cup game-winning goals all the way back from when they first started having video back from the 30s and stuff like that. And we got to the year the Golden Knights lost the cup to the Washington Capitals, and you got Lucas Spiza out there turning the puck over behind the net that led to the Capitals game-winning goal and stuff. And you look at that defensive core that got to the Stanley Cup, led by Nate Schmidt and Braden McNabb and Jay Theodore and Spiza and John Merrill. I mean, you need a little bit of a better defensive core than that if you plan on winning Stanley Cups. And Pietrangelo is going to chew up 22, 23 minutes a game. It's not going to be pretty at times, but he's fine. He's fine. He's not the issue, puts it like that. And I'd rather have Pietrangelo on this team on defense versus having that $9 million utilized somewhere else if you're only going to put it to the defense.
Coming up next, based on values that are provided from AFP Analytics from that study, now that we have some ideas, perhaps, what players could fit in with the VGK? We'll get to that when we return right here on Locked On Golden Knights. Gametime, it's the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. Gametime has deals on tickets right up until the start of the event. Myself and Chris can attest to that. And even an hour later, after it starts, it's the place to find your last-minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, for basketball, baseball, concerts, and much, much more. With zone deals, you pick the section. Gametime picks the seats. It's an average of 18% savings. And the Gametime guarantee, well, that means that you will always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the promo code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off of your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account. Use the redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Back on this edition, Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen. We have a short week coming up here. Of course, just a 4-day week on Locked On Golden Knights. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where you will find the Chris and Chris Jr. show. And of course, on Fridays, it's WTF, which is network wide. I say, I just was looking at this list this morning, and we're talking about the AFP Analytics study that the good doc, Frank Saravalli, released late last week. And it was during the news dump, so no one got to this, I'm sure. Bring back Teddy Bluger at $2.1 million.
Another center, great.
Anthony Beauvillier, 1 to 2 years at $1 million. He still has a little bit of value.
So, I mean, when I'm looking at this list right here, I'm looking, the first qualifier I'm looking for is under 30 years old, and 27 and 28-year-olds is really where I'm looking at this. And this is where the Golden Knights, and again, we're assuming that let's just pretend for a second the Golden Knights do not extend Jonathan Marchessault, or plan B, they extend Jonathan Marchessault and still make a corresponding trade to free up another $5 to $6 million in salary cap. Are you looking to dust that off on one $6 million player? You look at like an Elias Lindholm or something whose value might have gone backwards a little bit.
My list. I have him on my list. He's
I'll
good
let you
value
talk
now.
about him.
No. He's good value. If Marchessault isn't extended here, 5 times 675, he's 30 years old. I think you get good value out of him. If you can maybe even chew him down a little bit, in the $5+ million area of that mark and give him the 5-year term, I think he could be valuable.
So here's who I like. What about Dakota Joshua? Vancouver Canucks.
I hate you.
Man, I'm on my game today. You look at his numbers, 23 points 2 seasons ago, 32 points, but he is this new
Love that guy. Left
yeah,
winger.
he's this new hybrid Keegan Colasar, but that can score goals. No disrespect to Colasar.
Yeah, no disrespect.
He's that third line grinder that's going to beat the crap out of you and punish the other teams. Type of player that does just wonders.
He's good
on playoff time. Looking at it, I mean, he's young too. He's 28 years old, but he's only been around the NHL going back about 4 seasons now.
4 times 3.25.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
all day, all night. Left winger, good, solid, has upside.
Well, Mike Amadio or Dakota Joshua. That's the question. I mean, can Joshua do other things like Mike Amadio? Another interesting player that would be on the cheap is like a Max Domi. Max Domi's stats have not been that great, but he had 38 assists last season. Now, how many of those went to Austin Matthews? That's a good question. But looking with the 2022-23 Chicago Blackhawks, Max Domi had 18 goals and 31 assists. So, and then with the Dallas Stars, he got traded. He was there after the deadline acquisition, 7 points. But he did put up 13 points in the playoffs in 19 games. So there's something to consider there with like a Max Domi type. And then we did some dumpster diving. I got a couple dumpster dive moves that I think could be very interesting. We're going to scroll all the way down to number 69, insert inappropriate laugh here, to number 69, Kevin LeBlanc. LeBlanc is 28 years old. He's been rotting away with the San Jose Sharks for his entire career so far. Looking at his 2022-23 numbers, LeBlanc had 33 points, 15 goals, 18 assists. And then from 2018 to 2020, he always scored double-digit goals while putting up a nice chunk of assists. Minus 33 in 2019-20. We have to work on that. Minus 27 last year, but who wasn't?
That's why he's number 69.
At number 69, you also have the familiarity, of course, with now Tomas Hertl on the Golden Knights, so that could only help things. And then one more way down on the list, way down. This is the reality of the Golden Knights right now. They're going to have to, find a way to.
They're going to go to the bargain basement.
They're going to have to go to the bargain basement. They're going to go to Ross and Marshalls and Goodwill and maybe do some recycling here.
Okay.
What about Victor Olofsson right above Kevin LeBlanc? The projection is 1x1, so obviously they're looking at Victor Olofsson to be on a bridge type of situation, and what better bridge to jump on with the Golden Knights? Buffalo Sabres.
They would definitely sell him on a 7-year deal.
7x1, great, let's go.
They'll do it. Yeah.
7x1, let's go. So last year, Olofsson only had 51 games. I'm not sure what led to that, but 15 points. But looking before that, 2022-23, 40-point season, 28 goals, 12 assists, 21-22, 20 goals, 29 assists, 49 points. Again, we're talking to 28-year-olds here who definitely has something left in the tank. I don't know if he's got plans to leave and go overseas. I'm not sure what his situation is, but that's a couple of players right there. Let's just say they brought in LeBlanc and Olofsson. You add some depth, and you're only spending, I'm sure they can get a little more than what their projection is, but there's still money left over. Even if you find a way to bring those players in, if you extend Jonathan Marchessault, and now you got some depth out there. Unfortunately, that would limit Brisson's and Dorofiev's path to jump right in, though.
I looked at Matt Duchene 3x5, even though he's 33 years of age. I just like his grit, and I think that he could fit in well with VGK. We talked about Tyler Toffoli on this show. Remember that?
Yeah.
But his projections went up. I said, oh, yeah, maybe we sign him here in Vegas for about $4 million, $5 million. And he's up to projected $6 million. And then Vladimir Tarasenko, I think, is worth a flyer. Not a Philadelphia Flyer, but a flyer.
Yeah, but you're talking 33 and 44-year-olds right now. I mean,
2 times 4.5. You can't lose at 2 times 4.5 with a Tarasenko.
4.5. Depending on, I don't know, can Tarasenko be the Marchessault replacement?
There is no salary cap in Vegas.
There's a limited one. There's There's the Vegas salary cap, which is a thin pencil, that needs to be sharpened. And then there's the rest of the league who uses a ballpoint pen, and but all these things could come to fruition. But right now, the Golden Knights are handcuffed with their salary situation. That's not going to change. Obviously, something could happen with a high value player going down. If that's the case, so be it. Then we'll have content for great midseason content in January if Stone's back goes out again.
Yeah, definitely sign Dakota Joshua. I think that's one of our definite picks here. Left winger, Vancouver at 4 times 3.25 would be really good. Coming up next, a look at the NHL playoffs. Stay with us here on this Tuesday edition of Locked On Golden Knights. Back on Locked On Golden Knights, Tony Cardasco and Chris Golick from Las Vegas. We appreciate you making us your first listen every day. On Fridays, it's WTF. Hey, we could finally wear white again post Memorial Day. You know that rule, right? You didn't know that rule?
Yeah, but every day is post. There's 364 days that are post Memorial Day.
Okay. So, no, between Memorial Day and Labor Day. You don't know the rules. You don't know the rules. Yeah. Of course.
We're going to Cowabunga Bay or Cowabunga Canyon today. It's going to be fun.
You're going today? It's starting to heat up. It's that warm, huh? Where you can go in the pool?
100 degrees, I think, is the number. I think Amanda says if it's 98, we ain't going. I think that's Amanda's rule.
I like
gotta be 100, gotta be triple digits.
That's awesome. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on the thermometer today to see where you're at.
Yes.
We've been telling folks about the Dallas Stars having the best road record this past season. And during the regular season, and they continue now to slay in the postseason. Last night, the Stars trailing 2-0 before that 3-goal outburst where they scored 3 in about 3 minutes and change. And they were down 2-0 before Jason Robertson. He started to take over. He's been a no-show so far. He went 10 games without scoring a goal in the playoffs. And then the hat trick last night. Pretty big win there as Dallas now leads their series 2-1 by virtue of that 5-3 win last night on the road in Edmonton.
Rupe Hintz. I've been saying, I think I said it with us. I said it definitely on Saturday's show with Chris. If Rupe Hintz is in, you got a pretty close to an even situation. Maybe you tilt things a little bit towards the Dallas Stars. You take Rupe Hintz out of that lineup, the Golden Knight, or excuse me, the Edmonton Oilers, I think would advance. I won't say handily; they're both great teams without Rupe Hintz, but I think the Oilers would definitely have the upper hand if Rupe Hintz is not in there. So Hintz comes back. Look what happens. It was a slow start, obviously, for the Stars, but they kept with it. And that second period, man, that was fun. I was selling cards, doing my thing, and I had the game on my computer. I'm like, goal. What's going on here? And Robo hat trick, and there you go, right there. So. Fun to watch, interesting game to watch. And Jason Robertson on the game-winning goal credited the goaltending coach. This is pretty cool in the postgame. Credited the goaltending coach for basically shooting from odd angles and odd positioning and stuff like that. And he scored from below the goal line. The goalie was not complete. Stuart Skinner, of course, was not perfectly positioned. Robertson found a perfect shot to take advantage. And that reminds me of when the Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup. Coach Cassidy credited Sean Burke on putting together a PowerPoint presentation of how to dismantle Bobrovsky, so to speak. And, well, the Golden Knights did. And going back even farther, when I covered the women's Team USA, Team Canada game 2-3 years ago at the Dollar Loan Center, I want to say.
That's over 2 years ago now.
Yeah, I interviewed Sarah Nurse after the game, who scored a very odd angle goal. I said, "Hey, was that a spray and pray? What led to that goal?" And she immediately went to the goalie coach and said the goalie coach is the one who tells us to take those types of shots and gives us some creative ways and types of shots to take that might have a chance to go in. So the goalie coaches are more important than people realize, I think.
Yeah, I think Sean Burke would also tell us about how to beat his own goaltenders, Hill and Thompson, with those odd angle shots. That's how you beat VGK.
Next year, you're going to see so many more of these odd angle shots. I'm telling you, this is the
Just
new.
below
This is
the
the
goal
new.
line. Like, how
It's the
could you
new
do it?
gritty goal from the corner, from just off the boards, from a 37-degree angle. It's going to be a weird season next year from those.
Yeah, they try to get
Someone's
the
going to
camera.
figure out a way to practice those and put together like plays specifically designed to get shots there. And yeah,
My New York Rangers, holy smokes. 34th comeback win. That sets the all-time
that was a
record,
crazy
regular
game.
season and
That was a
post.
crazy game.
Imagine being a fan like of the Rangers or even of Florida and watching games like that. That was insane.
That tip in overtime was magnificent.
Wenberg, that was unreal. That was just unreal.
That is a world-class goal that no one's going to understand because it just like it looked like it hit him in the stomach or in the belly or something, but hit the shaft of the stick between
control,
his
right?
hands
Right.
below the crossbar. I mean, it was
he guided that in to perfection.
It's 8-ball corner pocket game over. I mean, it was a beautiful, remarkable.
If you're Bobby, like, how do you stop? You can't stop that.
Well, but here's what: if you watch that goal, though, go back, Tony, after the show is over. Go back and go on the AHL app and watch the goal really fast. The Florida Panthers defense blew the coverage. You see one of the defensemen realizing that two of their defensemen went to the corner or away from the puck, and it was a Golden Knights situation where if they did the overhead shot, you would see Bobrovsky. You would see who scored that goal? Alexander Wenberg. So you'll see Bobrovsky, you'll see Wenberg, and you'll see nothing else. You will see nothing else. But if you watch the replay, you see the Panthers defense. Winberg. There you go. W. Berg.
Shesty shined in this game. Total shots attempted 108-44 in favor of Florida. And so I understand the frustration of the Florida Panther fans. Tonight's game is going to be a doozy because the game ended with Tkachuk chasing after Rempe and pointing his finger at him. And I like Shesterkin too. He was saying, he goes, it's a good thing I don't understand English because you should have heard the stuff that Tkachuk was saying there.
What?
He's just chirping away.
So what are the Rangers' record with Rempe in the lineup now since this?
Rempe now is 32-2 with him in the lineup. 32-2. You can't keep him out. You can't keep him out of the lineup.
That's my thing. Like, what is the?
He's the energy guy. He's the energy guy. Who cares? I don't care if he scores another goal his entire lifetime. He is just an energy guy, and they even put him in overtime.
I saw that. Jiminy Crickets.
Jiminy Crickets
when he got his shift late in the third. Also,
who says that under age 85? Who says that?
You say it all the time. You're
I am
close.
under age 85. That's good.
What I will say about the playoffs this year, like I've been talking to Chris about this, like normally you got a little bit of a pulse on what's going to happen. I'm not saying we're going to predict the wins and losses perfectly and stuff like that, but usually you can say, okay, this team has an advantage as to why, and this, that, and the other. But you can't pick these games. You can't handicap these games. There's nothing out there that's going to give you any indication of what's going to happen. Maybe the Stars have a little bit of a tell right now with Rupe Hintz in the lineup. I think that might change things a little bit, and they're only going to get better as that season or that series progresses. But Rangers, Florida, like I can't tell you. I have no pulse on it.
Rangers could be down 0-3. I mean, think about it. They could be down 0-3.
Well, Florida blew them out the first game. But yeah, no, that's the thing. I mean,
the Rangers could be down 3 games, 2 overtime wins for New York.
This might go down, just thinking out loud here, as far as just for me personally, what might be one of the best 2 conference finals that I'll ever get to witness, I think. I mean, it just seems like both of these could be destined for game 7s, and stuff like that, or, close games and stuff. And it's fun. Like, for all the Golden Knight fans, if you're still watching this podcast and you're not watching hockey right now, like, just put your pride aside and go enjoy some hockey. It is so much fun right now. It is so much fun to watch. It's a little bit bittersweet watching the Stars fight. I'll give you that, but who cares? Enjoy the game. It's so much fun right now.
They should be here for this statement right now. Hear me out. The Vegas Golden Knights would not win the cup if they played this Florida Panther team. End of story. A season ago, they're healthy, they're vicious, They hit. They're tough. There's no way VGK would have won the Cup. And we wouldn't be arguing about whether or not
you're saying is the team this year that got eliminated, if they went up against the Panthers, they would lose. The team that got eliminated this year?
No, last year.
Or you're saying this version of Florida is just much better than last year?
By far. By leaps and bounds. Much better.
Yeah, but Tony, you know why they're better?
The health.
No, it's the experience. They know what it takes to win a cup now. And there's that hunger. And this is something that I called by just looking in the eyes of the Florida Panthers players when I did the Stanley Cup Media Day last year. The Golden Knights were all about business. Yeah, they were having fun. They were firing some funny answers and stuff, but the Golden Knights were all business, including Jack Eichel, who was not on that Stanley Cup team that lost in 2017-18. But you saw it in the Florida Panthers. You know, Bobrovsky was dialed in, but everyone else that I had talked to, it was like being on seeing Las Vegas for the first time, looking up, being all excited at the environment and seeing the banners hanging in T-Mobile, and the Stanley Cup is 6 feet to your right shoulder and stuff like that. The Florida Panthers weren't ready for the moments, and it's a moment you can't prepare for unless you're there once already. But now that Florida has been there, yeah, they're going to be a tough out. But we're also talking about a team that's trailing 2-1 right now in the conference final. I mean, so I don't know. Give me Rangers Edmonton. I think that would just be so good for hockey as far as the attention that would bring to the game.
I mean, Zibanejad, none of the key players have scored goals. You had that little take there about Lafreniere. I just reached out to you on Twitter or on X, and I asked you about Lafreniere's card value.
To the moon.
And then next thing you know,
to the moon.
Holy smokes. Cloud Chris at it again. Getting clout. Get those.
I wrote that article before the conference final even happened. So
well, I just asked you about it, but that's good.
I was ahead of the curve on that one.
I helped you regenerate it, bro.
I know it's good. I got more. I'm getting clicks. I'm watching.
I get a helper.
You get a helper. You get an apple on that. So what Tony's referring to, I guess I'll put the plug in minute 32 of the show here. I am the collectibles content manager for the Hockey News. Long story short, I write articles about hockey cards. I write articles about hockey memorabilia, hockey card investing, and just basically with respect to the game and what's happening right now. I wrote an article about Alexis Lafreniere and how he did from a season over season perspective, and if this is a good time to buy, sell, hold, or hedge on Lafreniere cards. And I said it was good for both. It's a good time to buy because sellers were looking to offload their cards because he had been a borderline bust, call it what it is. And then it's also an exciting time to buy because there's this helium behind him because of how he's playing. That was before his 2-goal game in game number 2, I believe.
I know, but give me an assist there.
You got an apple, yeah.
I got that thing
going. You get an apple. I might be able to get an ice cube in my coffee. That's how much money I'm going to make off that article.
Laffy with 2 backhanders. Holy smoke. So he's finally coming in.
Yeah, he almost killed Bobrovsky too. Like he almost killed Bobrovsky when that skate blade hit him in the helmet. Oh my God.
Oof. Scary moment.
That scared when I saw the replay, that was like yeah.
Folks, we appreciate you tuning in, especially our everydayers. Thank you so much. Of course, it's great to be back after a long weekend.
This is a fun show. I feel like we have to work too hard to get through it. I like this one.
We never have to work too hard to get through any show.
Yeah, some of them last week were
some of them last week a little bit of a grind. We'll keep the good topics coming. Of course, on Fridays it's WTF What the Friday. We love your comments there. Always vintage stuff. On Saturdays, the Chris and Chris Jr. Show, which is the YouTube exclusive. Please subscribe if you haven't yet to our YouTube channel, Lockdown Golden Knights. From my man Chris Golick, I'm Tony Cardasco from Las Vegas. Luckily, I still have a voice after calling a 50-point blowout yesterday in AAU hoops. We'll see you again tomorrow right here on Lockdown Golden Knights, and please take care.